Hey everybody, welcome back. This is our now third episode of Call It Conversation.
Why are you accounting?
Dude, because we're going to put this in the right order so I remember who goes first when we put it on.
Oh, so this is more of a men.
It's for me.
So with him, Rick, and me, Nain.
There you go. And this short guy here.
Yeah, he really looks... You know what, we're not going to...
He really is this tall. He's
He
actually
really
kneeling.
Yeah, so right now. He's taking a knee.
This is Jeff.
He's got a new knee.
Richie?
Jeff Ritchie.
Jeff
Jeff
Ritchie.
Ritchie.
And, you know, we've had so many people say, hey, you got to talk to this guy, you got to talk to this guy, right? And then he says, oh, we have to talk to that guy. And I go, which one? Like, that guy? Okay. So here we are.
Can you hear us?
Again, we're in Reno, Nevada at the gathering, Bruce Hunchy's Jetnik Hunchy
Okay.
event, which is a yearly thing. And from what I understand, this is going to be somewhere else next year, right?
Yes, sir. It'll be in Sacramento. From what I understand, it's going to be at the Red Lion Inn, but don't quote me on that.
I thought it was Doubletree.
Oh, Doubletree then. There you go. See, there you go.
Hey, look at that.
We heard that from Hanchi.
Good.
Now, let me ask you this, because again, we're meeting people left and right, and people are just being thrown at us. Hey, talk to this guy, talk to this guy.
Dude, I would not want him thrown at us.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Depends on the situation, right?
Right.
If you get a tiger chasing, you might be a good stop.
Yeah,
There you
actually,
go.
that's probably true. Here's a knife.
What are you doing here? Because I know Hanchi even was one of the guys. Oh yeah, you got to talk to this guy. He's, he has a lot of cool stories. So what are you actually doing for the event? Because I know you're part of the event, right?
I just fill in. I just try to fill in where I can, bridge the gaps. So whatever I can do to help continuity of the program, that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, okay.
Just like this appearance
Expediter.
here, you know what I mean? So
Right.
this is part of that program. So.
Yeah, when we were
So it's
here.
not us, right? You.
No, I've
give
never
a
met you
crap
guys
about
before, but I
us,
appreciate what you guys are doing.
okay.
So I mean,
Thank you.
spreading information and knowledge is why this event
Right.
exists. So.
And you are a martial artist.
Yes, sir. I'm a student of every art.
Of every art.
Every art.
Dude, did you see his backpack?
Culinary arts, or it could be,
Culinary arts, I like it.
that's I mean,
Can you make us a burger?
What's your
At the
favorite
dish?
dish?
Yes, sir, I can.
Oh, yeah?
Hey,
Oh.
stop calling me sir. You're making me feel really old.
I call everybody sir.
Military?
Because no, sir, it's not military. I set a standard I would like to see, so
Okay,
I can't
well, then
expect
I will
you to do
allow
something
it.
I'm not going to do.
Then I-
Oh,
then I
you're
will.
going to allow it?
Oh,
Seriously,
okay.
you're going
I
to
have-
allow
yeah,
a
that's why-
6'5"
Well,
That's
man
what I'm
to-
saying.
I don't want to offend you, so I can call you whatever. I'm very versatile.
Just
so.
call me Rico.
There you go,
Or
Rico.
Rick.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
call
sure.
him.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Let's call you sir.
There you go.
There
Thank
you go.
you.
Okay, there you go.
Appreciate it, sir.
But no, and the thing is that respect that you give out to people by sir and all that.
Right.
I understand that. My father was military, so
Okay, sure,
I was.
sure.
That's why I asked. Person asked
Sure,
military.
sure.
So I understand it, and it's cool. But our show is pretty much just hey, we're just a couple of guys having a conversation.
Sure,
Pretty much,
know?
yeah, that's how we say it.
And I would love to know what is your background as far as when did you start in the martial arts? Because I can't see you ever being shorter than 5.
Honestly, I skipped a grade in earlier elementary school, so I was always smaller. Had a later birthday.
Really?
So I was always smaller than everybody until about the 8th grade. I grew about 8 inches over the summer and gained about 90 pounds.
Oh,
Wow.
So I went from a tight end on the football team to a guard. So I did. I was able to get recover a lot of lunch money and just
Recovered lunch money.
And the funny
It was
thing
like,
is, the thing about fighting is as a smaller person, you don't have the leverage of the force of the thing, but you do have mobility.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
So
where I
when I
shine.
grew, I wasn't used to fighting forcefully. I was used to being mobile.
right.
So that kind of helped
Oh,
you
so
out.
you were a
Just 'cause-
fast big dude.
Well, that was the thing. So later on, I kickboxed. Again, the first time my introduction to an Islander, a Samoan guy, I thought, well, this guy's out of shape. There's not going to be no problem. The 6th round, he still lifted me off the ground, man. I had to move around, So, I mean, and that's what saved me. But then I had no intention of really hurting anybody, so I had no business getting in the ring.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just saw somebody doing it. I thought I'd be that person.
Oh, let me try that out.
Yeah, but it wasn't me. So I think a lot of times we have to look for a fit.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a union plumber and a union longshoreman.
Oh, cool.
In the city, right?
Yes, sir. San Francisco, local 38 and local 10.
You're out in San Francisco.
That's his
Yes, sir.
neighbor.
So,
Yes, sir.
so
Yeah.
we're out about there.
All over.
Oh, so you
So
work
anytime you
do
see
you
a
live
building,
in San Francisco?
No, sir. I live up north. I live in right on the border of Colusa and Glenn counties. So I'm right at the base of Mendocino County.
Okay.
That worked because
Yeah.
when you said that, we were like,
No,
Wait,
yeah.
what is that?
I don't know.
Right, exactly. That's why I
It's a
moved
little-
there. That's why I moved
What
there.
nobody
Really?
knows about.
Yeah, it's very rural, very
It's the hidden secrets.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I
Fresh
like it.
water, fresh air.
Oh,
You
wow.
know?
So what
So-
led to that decision? Because I'm curious now.
I'm from Southern Indiana originally, so that's kind of the mindset I've always,
Oh, I
accepted.
see.
You know, I just like the small town mindset. You know,
Well,
people
that's
don't
cool.
have to like you, but they're still manner. They'll still wave at you.
Right.
You know, and there's no, they're practical people. You know, they may not have you come over for dinner, but there is that dependency on each other in
Right.
adverse situations. So,
Now, you mentioned you dabbled in a lot of different martial arts. What was your main or first one that you jumped into?
I started. Well,
Huh?
kickboxing
Yeah.
was the first maybe
Well, yeah.
contact sport that I got into. So Kaji Kempo would be the first structured art, but even prior to that, I moved out here, and one of my neighbors was an elderly Filipino man,
Oh, well. Okay,
and I
we know
asked him
that
to
way.
teach me karate.
Right.
Well, what a dumbass! I did not know
You-
when he was actually a bolo fighter through the World War II campaigns.
Right.
Oh, shit.
So
Oh,
he
wow.
was kicking my ass or beating me up vigorously several times a week.
Bolo fighter.
I came back.
Yeah, you took this.
Finally, he told me, I'm Filipino. I do not do karate. This is my
No,
art."
that's why I was like, wait, you asked a Filipino to teach you karate?
Right.
I was like, did he slap you?
He did.
No,
really
he beat
did.
him up for years.
He really did. And he
Because
saw
I
that
didn't-
I was not trying to be harmful, but he didn't want to teach arts.
Right.
Killing wasn't a toy to him.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
something he went through, and now he's able to raise a family. Why would
That's
anybody want to live that life?
Who and what's his name?
Pagarigan. It would be Pablito Pagarigan
That's cool.
was his name.
Yeah, well, we want to make mention because,
But
growing
it was his
up.
grandfather was the polo fighter.
Yeah, so growing up, I was doing, the American stuff.
Yes.
I didn't learn Filipino martial arts to almost 10, 15 years ago.
Sure.
92. But once I got into it, all the other
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
that I was
sure.
doing was like, that's it.
You said 10, 15 years ago, 92?
92 was it?
You know, we're in
20
year
years.
2022, right?
I'm-
It's already 20.
We've been here all day, folks. To my
It does.
defense.
It blends all together.
Yeah, right. In my
Every
defense,
time
God
when
damn
you
it.
know what I mean?
I'm just
I
saying.
have
Yeah, I
no
mean,
clue what.
you're not late, so why do
I
you
have
need
to
to know
call
the
you
time?
out. Shit.
Yeah, right. I'm like,
The thing though is I was blessed. I was born. I moved to Vacaville, California. So we had Ellen Riz
Yeah.
Senior, and we had Tony Ramos.
Wow.
Had
Right.
I'm going to forget
Wow,
some names.
these are
but
some good
there was
names, yeah.
I didn't know who they were. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You just went in
Victor
and-
Mendiola was one of the primary instructors I had through Kaji Kempo.
I was going to say, a lot of them punched you, though.
You know what I mean? Emil Batista was another one that I got.
Oh,
wow,
Emil?
yeah.
Emil Batista.
You trained with Emil Batista?
I was blessed to learn from him.
Wow.
that's awesome.
And just there's so many others, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And since then, I was introduced to Hanshi Bruce Chutnik, who just opened the door for every art that I could never, ever imagine in my life.
Yeah, that's the thing that because when we talked to Hanchi, we didn't really know what system he did.
Sure.
Because whenever he talks, he was just going on about the gathering and this stuff, and you couldn't get anything outside of that because he would just keep going back into
Sure.
right. So so
Sure.
what system does he do? I guess I have no clue. Right?
I think one of the key points that I like about his philosophy, because it's more of a concept than a style.
Yes.
I like
Okay,
it.
because the
Okay, I
concept
like
works
that
with
idea.
everything else.
Yeah.
It deals with natural law and the fundamentals of what is just nature provides.
Right.
You know, so it's amazing how once you put a title on something, it restricts the growth. You've already defined it, so now you can't carry on
You can't
because
do it, yeah.
now you have to have another book or another title. So
Right.
I think sometimes we get so caught up in the appearance of things without looking into what it is.
And that is so true because, like you said, once you put a label on it,
Sure.
you're stuck there.
Sure.
I mean, look what happened with JKD, right?
Sure,
Bruce Lee was
sure.
an innovator, was changing it all the time, constantly changing it. But the moment he passed, it
Right.
just became just K,
Correct,
and
right.
it never changed, it never evolved.
But that's
It
the
kept
unfortunate thing
going.
about marketing too.
Yeah.
You know.
When it's successful.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's the key point.
Yeah.
There's that duality to any
It really
business.
stifles.
You have to have
everything after that.
a profit margin versus quality.
Yeah, it never ceases to amaze me because then you get the people saying, oh, we're doing a traditional JKD, but Bruce Lee was never traditional. He just kept
No.
growing and changing,
well,
but
that's
yet,
the thing. I mean, but that's what Hollywood does. I feel.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was,
I can see that.
Because once again, the labels you market now, you know what movie train is.
Right.
And another one I'd like to introduce would be, or to bring out, would be Victor de Torres.
Yeah.
I was going through a very bad time in my life, and we were introduced, and he invited me, gave me a seat at his table. That meant more than anything to me.
Well,
Then I found out this guy does a wonderful art. I didn't even know. Very vicious. You know, I mean, people don't think about, it was a headhunting art.
Yeah.
You put heads on sticks.
yeah.
You take me long to figure out, oh my God, this is gross.
Yeah,
But this is what you do, son. That's what I'm asking you to do. Will you do it? Yes, sir. right away, as soon as you want. You know.
Well, then you lucked up on meeting all these.
I was
great people.
blessed in so many different ways in this whole thing.
Because I
and just so on. For over 30 years, I've been coming.
Yeah, because when we come here, we feel that way. You know, you get to talk to all these different people, different mindsets, different mentalities, and they're just wonderful people. That they're willing. I mean, we yank you and say, "Hey, come here. Okay, I'll talk."
Well, that and I don't mean to, but that's the concept of self-defense.
Right.
Do you really have to fight to have self-defense? No. That's poor planning and preparation. If you,
I like that. I like that phrase.
I mean, if you have an enemy, you're not going to say, "I'm going to meet you Tuesday." You know, no, you're going to annihilate him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's not the intent of life. That's not the purpose.
Right.
But if you don't take care of yourself,
First,
you're going to have all kind of ailments, different physical. You're going to beat yourself
I'm
up.
there. Yeah.
Me too. I want to throw high kicks, but my body structure, my anatomy, my hip socket isn't aligned for that type of kick.
Right.
Wow.
So who wants to spend the time to know themselves? They want to see what you do. They want to imitate it and look at me. I'm just like you.
Yeah.
You know, but there's no personality to that.
Right.
You know?
You're a cookie cutter.
Who are you?
Right.
Are you at a
Yeah.
point where you want to open your own school at all, or are you even
Honestly,
do you even have your own school?
That's a loaded question.
Honestly, I like to teach everywhere I go.
Okay.
So the term to me of Sifu is a transmutable term. I'm Sifu because I'm talking.
Right.
When you talk and introduce, you're Sifu. He walks by and we watch him there, Sifu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Sifu is a transitional title.
Okay.
It's not a fixed, you're not always going to teach them. And the most important thing is if you're not a student, you're never going to be a good teacher.
Agreed.
And that's one thing I think Hanshi Nick for is Charles Garrett, too. I don't know where he's at, too. I mean, just, like I say, I don't want to leave anybody out, but it just, to be a student.
Well, yeah, and that's the same thing I always tell my students. I said, look, for you to get any better, teach. Teach
Yes.
you guys.
Yes. Yes.
Learn the craft of teaching it so that you can actually get better.
Sure. Well, also you have to know to identify what that person's capable. So if you're going to teach a style or structure, you don't want to cause them harm. That's a do no harm concept. So,
Right.
and that's one thing I've been studying and trying to do. That's what the animal styles, I believe, are all
Right.
about.
Yeah.
Okay, some people move this way, some people, or the mental state. They have a mental projection or mental, and that can change throughout the day.
Right, they
You
have
can go
it.
from the tiger to the snake,
Right.
and, or whatever, So it's something to be aware of. It's not,
Well, it's self-awareness. I mean,
Sure.
you really have to understand where
You
you
do.
are at any given
Sure do.
point. And not just physically, as we do in the art, but mentally as where we're going to use it,
Yes,
when
sir.
and why.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All those things play in a part of it. And for me, martial arts became that vehicle of self-discovery and self-evolution more than anything else.
Sure.
And to hear the people, and why I like doing this show is because we want to hear your evolution. Because were you this chill when you first came out here?
I've been like this my whole life. I was the kid that always pet the dog you shouldn't pet. You know what I mean? I got bit. But then one day I could pet the dog, or not,
Wow.
But I wasn't going to let the dog determine what I was going to do.
Right.
But you were never aggressive about it.
No, but I will be very defensive of people that I care about. And I was telling somebody about a warrior cannot be a warrior unless he has love.
Right.
Correct.
You think you're a bad person until you find somebody who's fighting for his family.
Yeah.
And you'll find
then
out
you can
really
see
what's
how
all
really.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I never thought that
Well,
technique would work
that's
like
like
that.
the mother and her cubs.
Yes, sir.
Right? They always say the female of the animal kingdom is always the
Most
wild.
fiercest.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And you're like, okay, I get that.
Sure.
Because even in my family, my mom, as tiny as she was, she could be really fierce in coming across.
The little dogs bite first, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once they close the gap, they got to let you know.
Yep.
If you're
That's
gonna,
pretty cool.
Yeah, so I mean,
Now, how long have you been with Hanshi?
I started in 1996 with Bruce Chucky.
You don't look a day over 45.
I got good genes.
Dude, right? I mean, if
you
you're
took
saying
an X-ray, then
I
you'd
mean,
see different,
you're
right?
giving a number. I'm trying to do the math in my head. Just, fuck, this guy's a lot older than
Well, I saw the
that's
scar
funny.
on your knee and
That's-
some of your hands, even your wrist. I'm like,
And that's what one of the healers, Al Akamoto, said, that if you didn't have these certain injuries, I wouldn't believe you've been doing the arts that long.
Well, yeah. I mean, because I'm looking at you, I'm like, okay, this guy's got to be maybe. And then I'm hearing your numbers, like, wait a minute, that doesn't even add up.
Right, yeah, I do have, I'm blessed with those genes that have a little younger look than I am. Most of my family, and just taking care of yourself. And stress, like I say, taking care of yourself just within your own issues.
Yeah,
you
you seem
say,
like a-
like somebody that doesn't stress a lot.
Yeah,
over
he's-
things.
I
pretty
mean,
chill.
an analogy is a lot of people get upset over things, and most of them, the analogy, it's a turd.
Yeah.
It's nothing you really can cultivate. It can fertilize other things, but it's nothing you're going to be able to cultivate now. So don't mourn it when it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't try to control it. Don't, let the turd do it.
I do try to look at it and see if it made, if I get the record yet, so I want to get a picture.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, you're right. Just let it go.
Let it go, man. If it comes back,
Something's wrong.
you know what I'm saying?
If it goes right, your plumbing
You
is
deal with it then, you know what I mean? Then you do, but you know what I mean? Don't dwell on it. Don't
Don't make it a problem
Come
before
up
it
with
happens.
solutions. Don't worry about the problem. Worry about the solution. You know what I mean? Yeah, if it comes back, then, eat, chew your food more. I don't know. You know what I mean? Eat less corn, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
So, there's always a solution, So,
that's
prevention, I think, is the best solution.
That's awesome. And where do you think you got that from? I mean, other than your sunny disposition?
I don't know, man. My grandmother loved me for that, and she made that clear that you're very special.
Now, what nationality, if you don't know?
Now, my father told me you check the box they're hiring for.
Got it.
Okay, so
And you'll be right.
culturally, it would have to be black, Native American, white, Native American, black. But then within the white, it's Scotch, Dutch, Irish, French.
So you're just a mutt.
So yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, you know what I mean. It just,
That's
but
me.
I tell people there's no dome lights in stagecoaches. So as far as your ethnic background, it's really determined by the person that gave you your name or your
Right.
It was basically usually like your social status.
Right.
So if you had like a skilled trade, it was predicated.
You were
upon
that, yeah.
You know
No,
what
I
mean?
get
So,
it.
yeah. So I mean, there's a lot
I
of.
mean, that's how some of the names came about.
Oh sure.
Thatcher,
Yeah.
Williamson,
Right.
Yeah. That's cool.
Plumber.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is lead work. You know what I mean? Which they weren't using lead at that time. But so I mean,
No, I agree. That's really cool. I now that I'm hearing you, I'm like, I think you're a real fascinating guy.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Did you ever compete in the martial arts when you, in your younger days?
You know what?
3 weeks ago?
I did. Okay, but the thing is, yeah, right. I did, but like I said, to me, I was more interested in the art. Okay, and if I can, and that's another thing about the coach. If you can create an unstable state for a person to where they have to lose the desire, the anger, the desire to hurt, and open up their mind to a questioning state, like, hey, how did that happen? Like, watch this. I'll make it move. Okay, see?
Right.
So I've already got you set. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't have to worry about you.
There you go.
Unless I do this, and then he'll move.
Then it's different. Yeah.
And then you'll move too.
Right.
Because I already introduced it.
Yeah, it's the psychology behind it.
So that's what I like doing. I like fucking with somebody.
Well, I can't imagine too many people
Wanna mess with you.
Yeah.
There are, and that's there's always the guy want to prove something or whatever the case may be. But like I said, if you can manipulate a person to where they're unstable, they're floating around, there's no punches thrown, there's no base falling, landing.
Then you're doing good.
They just can't figure out what's
Yeah.
going on, and they look to you for help and friendship,
Yeah.
and boom, that's what I accomplished.
There's an interesting movie that went where the guy was fighting somebody or challenged him, and the guy that's being challenged goes, "Oh, I'll tell you what, if we fight, if I beat you, you're going to be my student." I'm like, that's
Yeah,
cool.
that's how it is. That should be
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
It's like, okay.
But and that's the thing I was talking to somebody about the other day. Everybody, the arts have changed. Concept society won't. This is the gift. People have different salutes. This is a friendly gift. This is really an aggressive gift. Okay, so the old guys that I remember would take that limb. They'd wear your hand. They'd let everybody know that this is Joe. Remember? And then you would.
Joe fucked up.
Yeah. Now you know how to conduct yourself. You know what I mean? Now
Sir.
you know that you better
Sir.
do something else. So I mean, it's just.
Well, in the Filipino culture, we do what we call, it's called manong, meaning, I'll take a hand, and no, I'll do this,
Oh, okay, yeah,
which
okay.
means total respect.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you're
I've seen that.
bound,
Yeah, sir. Yeah, right.
and that says, that's respect to the elders, or somebody who's giving you lessons or how to grow. Because you're taking that knowledge from there and saying, here, I respect you, and I want to learn from you,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
because you're my elder. And it doesn't mean that you have to be older than me, because a younger person who knows something, we would still, hey,
Right,
please
sure.
teach me.
Sure.
And that's what you're talking about, is that you have to have that level of respect that you understand, no matter who they are, whether they're older or younger than you, and you just bow down and says, okay, cool, I understand that you are this.
You bow your ego and listen.
Yeah, and you leave that ego out the door.
But then there's an energy exchange too.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
And that's the thing. I think there's a connectivity that, like I said, that movement thing. There's a connectivity we all share.
Yeah.
Even if we choose now, you can go to New York, wherever it is. But I mean, the smallest things have such a great effect. They had the third eye in the country. And they pass all their problems off. That's what the opening
Right,
slip.
yeah.
So when you
Right.
enter the punch or the tiga into the area, you don't have negative energy that you're bringing into it. It's all
But
positive.
don't you find though, because I hear you and I love what you're saying, but a lot of times in the martial arts, you get that one kid who's got that chip on his shoulder, and no matter how he's pushed into respect, dignity and all that stuff, he's still just like, back then I'm gonna kick something.
And there's many paths to the mountaintop, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know?
And that's everybody then. I always say that the people that I see that struggle so hard, I thank God that they got the gift of that because I didn't want it.
Yeah.
I didn't want that. But
I'm glad it went to you.
So you're able to handle that,
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't handle it.
Yeah,
So I thank
because
God that you did it. You know, and then
when I see that, I'm almost disgusted and like, who's your master? Who taught you? And why didn't they give you this, the right way?
It took me the longest. Every time I walk into there was somebody doing that, right? I
Yeah.
go, oh, this is the guy. And I wore a white belt for 20 years, bro, because I didn't know nothing.
Right.
You know, I'm still wearing white. The old Filipino man, finally, I said, how do I get a black belt? I didn't know Filipinos did a belt system. He said, you in this shit again? Okay, so he took my shirt, ripped it up, wrapped around the belt. Now you have a belt. You work out every day. You work very hard. You'll sweat. And your belt will get dirty.
Yeah.
You keep it dirty, it will get black. And then you'll have a black belt. Because, yes, sir, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Well, we just had somebody who actually did that. Is Skip.
Okay.
Skip?
Yeah. Skip.
He still wears the white belt that he started
sure,
off with.
Sure. Leland O'Sullivan came in, and he was one of the first of the youngest black belt, Henry Osaki, came in, and he wore a white belt because he went through the master belt.